everyone, and welcome back to Devils United, second stream in one night, and we have got Luca today. Luca, how are you?
I'm good, man. I hope you're really good, and I look forward to it, and I hope you're good.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while, but then I realised it was the other day. So, because we're streaming all the time together, it just feels like a couple of days feels ages.
Yeah.
So before we get into the World Cup, we will quickly hit the comments. Hey there, Niall, I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, Luca. Luca? You say hi to yourself.
How did I put it in earlier?
Hey there, Ravi. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Niall is literally thinking what we're all thinking. We do want to see a Morocco-Croatia final. We both want to see it. Surely you do too, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Now said the trouble that Morocco hasn't faced a big target man like Olivier Giroud. Where in previous rounds they haven't come against a big target man. I think they can cause problems for France. That ref was shocking. The Spanish one, who's a Spanish Mike Dean, and the Brazil one for Holland versus Argentina game. It's all a big fits. I thought you wanted Argentina to win it, Niall. Hey there, Sweet Munchkin.
Hello, Sweet Munchkin, mate. Thanks for following me around on the Maisie's comments.
Hope you're well, Sweet Munchkin. Thanks for coming in. Hey there as well, Tarsen. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. My name is Luca.
My name is Luca, and I live on the second floor.
So I thought we'll do our quarter-final review. In terms of the game, because I think there was a lot of surprise ones, more surprises than we probably anticipated. So let's go into the quarterfinals, and we'll start with the first game of Croatia versus Brazil. That went all the way to penalties, and the shock happened. Croatia knocked Brazil out of the World Cup, so the favourites have gone out the World Cup.
For me, right, I expected this. I said this on my watch along.
You didn't say it on the stream, though.
Yeah, but Mace, I said it. It doesn't matter, Mace. The thing is, I said it on my watch along. Well, fair enough. Then I said Morocco were gonna beat Portugal on my stream. I said it like when
you said it on mine as well. To be fair.
Well, I did say Morocco were gonna win, and for me, right, I knew Morocco were gonna win because there's something about Morocco, right, that have that character in them, right. They proved it that they managed to beat Spain, but for me, they managed to obviously like beat Portugal because I didn't watch the Morocco-Portugal game because I was at football on Saturday, right? And for me, I saw the score. Someone had the score in front row of me, and for me, had the game on. And for me, what I was told that Morocco played really, really well. And for me, like, well, Cristiano Ronaldo, mate. Hence why I know you're a Manchester United legend, but not anymore, mate. Because Cristiano Ronaldo, mate. Piers Morgan / mate. Cristiano Ronaldo, mate. You just gone out of the World Cup and cried. I'm sorry, Ronaldo, but
But in terms of Croatia versus Brazil, I think it was a bit of a surprise one because you've seen the kind of squad that Brazil has got, who they brought through in that World Cup, and the fact that Croatia was able to hold out to a 0-0 in 90, then it went to 1-1. And don't forget, Neymar had an absolute stunning goal.
Neymar was poor in that game because
his goal was stunning. It was a stunning goal. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but it's only around the goalkeeper. It's easy. Even both of us can do that. Even people in the comments can do that. It's only around the goalkeeper. But you think it was actually quite a good goal? For me, I just
I thought it was a good
goalkeeper. It's like going round in circles.
And then, of course, Croatia scored in like the last 3 minutes of the game, counter-attacking. But I look at it and I think, right, the lineup for Brazil was Alisson, Danilo, Thiago Silva, Maricos, Militao, Casemiro, Paqueta, Vinny Jr., Neymar, Rafinha, Richarlison.
Yeah.
Surely that team should have done enough to get Croatia knocked out.
For me, and I'll go with the commentator what he said at half time. Brazil lacks creativity in that game. Croatia won the battle in midfield, and even the pundits said it, right? And I'll go along with them because for me, Brazil couldn't actually manage to deal with Croatia's midfield. Croatia, the way they move in midfield with the experience like Modric, Kovacic, and Perisic and Brozovic, Mace, they move very, very fast. They've got a very good tempo in midfield. That's why, right, for me, Brazil kind of like lost the battle in midfield. And for me, Fred, he's crap. And I said this since
Well, I put it in the comments. Ten Hag is actually getting rid of Fred at the end of the season. He's not renewing his contract. So, as it stands, Fred is going on a free agent.
Oh no! Please hope we don't get him. but no, I think Neymar was poor because he scored a crucial goal at the time before Croatia got a late equaliser, I think, into penalties. But for me, Neymar was just not up for it for the standards. I just think some of his touching was poor. Yes, he scored a good fancy goal in that, but.
Do you want to see these stats? Because these stats are absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. So, Brazil had 21 shots to Croatia's 9 shots. Brazil had 11 shots on target, scored 1 goal, compared to Croatia's one and only 1 shot on target, and it was a goal.
That's poor, in my opinion. Like Brazil to go and have 21 shots against Croatia, but only scored the 1 goal in extra time. It's shambolic. It's not good enough by Brazil because I had Brazil to win the tournament, right? And Brazil, they were hard to beat. Yes, okay, they didn't play well in that 1-0 defeat in the group stage, but they must have put a second team out. So for me, like Brazil, I was baffled. I was shocked, right? Because I didn't cover or watch along on this. I did the game after that, which was Netherlands-Argentina and England-France. So the thing is with Brazil, I was baffled. I was really, really shocked. And like for Croatia, I want to talk about a bit of Croatia, right?
Go ahead.
I know the Brazil manager left, which for me, before I do jump onto the conclusion, right, for Brazil, I was shocked that they managed to get rid of Tit, right?
He decided before the tournament started he was leaving Brazil after this.
Who do you actually think will come in? Who do you think will actually come in?
That's a good question. I actually don't have a clue.
Because who is there realistic you can go and get? Maybe you can think, Mace, maybe someone like Roberto Carlos, someone like that.
But the thing is, you look at who Brazil has got players wise. They've got, I would say, they've got a world class squad.
Yeah, Brazil have got a world class squad. Right? Don't get me wrong. They've got.
He hasn't managed a team since 2015. Roberto Carlos.
Nah, not good, man. No experience.
And the team that he,
Rafa Benitez,
the team that he last
in the chat.
The team he last managed was an Indian team.
Really, but no. For me, right, I think Brazil needs someone that actually knows the actual team, Mace. If that makes sense. So that's what I think Brazil. But anyway, with Croatia, right, one player which I really stand out, which I'm a very, very impressive with Croatia, is you been linked to them. Chelsea have been linked to them. Is that Croatia right back?
Gravino.
He
isn't linked with us. He's linked with Chelsea.
Well, I heard United.
He's supposed to be a centre back, but he isn't linked with us, from what I've read.
Okay, fair enough. But for me, like, he looks very, very, very good. And for me, he's someone which really outstanding in this tournament because every time when Brazil were getting forward, he kept coming back. He kept was very defensive. He kept defending very well, won every single ball. And for me, he was good. And Croatia were all right. They were okay. And for me, I think they were the better team than Brazil. And for me, no one expected Croatia to get into another semi-final. Like we saw this in 2018, right? Croatia got to the semi-finals because they still had people like Mandzukic and all that stuff. And for me, right, they've still got the experience in like the Modric, the Kovacic, the Brozovic, and the Perisic. So Croatia have gone improving, and this is why they're a dark horse. And for me, like they've got Argentina next, right? And it's going to be a difficult game for them. But don't underestimate teams like Croatia because Croatia like a penalty FC, right? So
you know what? Something about what I was actually thinking about Croatia in itself is, and Brazil is the penalty shootouts. I don't think people have been criticising of how Brazil done the penalty shootouts in the order of why didn't Neymar be one of the first players to take a penalty? Because if you look at I've always thought your most important players are either the first penalty or the fifth. And they probably looked at it as in the fifth, but if you don't score your first three, you're out.
Well, yeah, of course.
And that's exactly what happened with Spain. They decided to have players have the centre back Maricos to score the penalty, who missed that penalty what got Croatia into the semi-finals. And for me, in my opinion, you look at the people who was actually on playing at that moment in time in terms of the World Cup. If they had Neymar, Casemiro scored his penalty. He had Fred. He actually could take penalties. He took it for Man United in the Europa League. Antony was another one. Why didn't he take a penalty? Rodrigo, why didn't he take a penalty? And then you're looking at the other options there who even started. Could Thiago Silva could have been an option who took a penalty with him being a captain?
Yeah, but that's the thing, because this is the problem when you go to penalty shootouts. It's hard to choose how you're going to predict who the 5 penalty takers are going to be, Mace. Because the trouble is, like, you can say something about like, okay, fair enough. Neymar should be a penalty taker. We know that he's carried Brazil, right, and he's Brazil's main biggest number one player, right? As people massive fan, right? Thiago Silva, 38 years of age, played his last World Cup. He should be taking penalties. It's like, for me, like if you go back and look at like the Euros last year when England lost to Italy, right? We were all complaining about, yes, Saka wasn't experienced enough, right? That's
that's something I've always said, that why didn't Luke Shaw take a penalty?
Yeah.
It's
You've
just
got to go with your experienced players. Yes, I understand, right? Managers might want to go with younger players because they want to give them a chance. But this is a tournament to progress into the semi-finals. This isn't flipping group stage or anything like that, or knockout stage, because group stage is no extra time, but knockout stage or anything like that. If you're like way ahead of the penalty shootout, or if the next penalty kick is to win it and you're going to get a kid, it's still risky, because Saka did it against Italy, right? To keep England alive, and then Donnarumma saved it in 2021, and then basically they won the Euros. So for me, Brazil, you've got to think wisely and think psychological effect, mate. Is that what penalties you're going to take? Because Marquinhos, for me, hitting that post, right, that really surprised me that he was going to miss that. Because when he hit the post, the pressure was on. Like, Brazil, for me, were my number one favourite to go on and win the World Cup.
Yeah, mine too.
So poor. And then Croatia won the battle in the midfield. And they deserve to qualify for the semi-finals.
Agreed. So from that score prediction, I predicted 3-1 to Brazil in 90. You went for 2-1 to Brazil in 90. None of us picked up any points.
I thought you went for 1-0, but no, yeah, all right.
No. We'll quickly go through the comments. Hey there, Liam. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, I like coffee. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Rabbit, I think France will play like they did against England, and Ish household win to the final. Ravi said Brazil were poor. Liam said Piers may as well become his agent and him on a TV show because his football career is past his expiry date. Absolute facts. Now said Neymar was quick and that was a big moment for him because big players turn up in moments. Then so Petrovic, who scored to force it to pens in the last seconds. Got to pick up the Croatian goalkeeper and the Morocco goalkeeper. Both could win the Golden Glove. I Like Coffee said Rodrigo was poor. Ravi said, I think Brazil are just that team that lack creativity. Same Jesus is injured. They could have done with him. Liam said, on paper, Brazil should have won the World Cup. I Like Coffee said Croatia goalkeeper was a beast. Now said Carlos doesn't have the experience to be Brazil manager. Liam's agreeing Gravenol is quality. Ravi said Brazil are a team of individuals. Hey there, John. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Hey there, Christmas with Vaughn. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Are Arsenal going to be signing anyone?
Well, apparently I've heard a rumor, right, but I don't believe it's true, right? And I know half the people think, oh my god, if Luca puts something about that, what people have seen on Twitter, people are going to think that I'm going to have a meltdown about it. But no. The thing is, what I've heard today is that there was a report going that we weren't considered signing anyone, and then other things I've heard that apparently we're closing on a deal on Mudrick, right? The Ukraine winger, right? Like, we've got to sign players. I'll say it quickly, right? We've got to sign players in January, right? Because yes, we've had a good transfer window, right? Yes, we're top of the league for 2 more weeks, but for me, right? Yes, I'm not Edu's biggest fan. Right, and people know this outside of YouTube, inside YouTube, when I go live, do my match reactions and all that stuff. When everybody jumps into my conclusion, but for me, I'm not Edu's biggest fan. So no, yes, Edu, the Conkeys delivered back to Mikel Arteta in the summer, but you've got to do it in January. And my standards are right now, right, and I know it's a bit too early in the season. My standards are right now is go and get 2 or 3 players. We need a striker. Because I don't trust Eddie Nketiah one bit, right? And there you go. So,
Ravi said, does Gakpo improve United? Certainly gives us squad depth, 100%. Hey there, Nippon. Hope you well. Thanks for coming in. I Like Coffee said Casemiro is an awesome player. I'd be the anchor of United's midfield. I think Neymar wanted to score the winning penalty. Agreed. I Like Coffee said 12 days till Christmas. Please don't remind me. And hey there, Hafsel. I hope you are well. Thank you for coming in. So we'll go into the next game of the quarterfinals. Netherlands versus Argentina. Another game that went to extra time. So it was 2-2 in 90 plus injury time, the amount of injury time it was. And then it went all the way to penalties, and Argentina won on penalties. What did you think of that game for you?
For me, right, with Netherlands versus Argentina, I did a watch along on it.
You did.
And for me, look, Argentina were the better team, Mace, against Holland until Holland scored. For me, I thought the game was so boring, right? No, I'm being serious. I'm being.
Well, you were saying it was game of the tournament because it was feisty.
Feisty one, you are. But no, I think, in my opinion, I think the game was boring until Holland scored. Like, people might be thinking, Luca, what the fuck are you talking about? But for me, right, I think the game was kind of a bit boring in at the beginning of the game because Holland didn't really show anything to deliver until they actually scored, right? Argentina were the better team. They controlled the game. They looked like the team what people expected Argentina, what they wanted in at the beginning of the tournament, despite Argentina had a terrible start, right? But Holland, since they scored, right, and made it 2-2 right at the end after 10 minutes of crazy stoppage time, right, after that little punch knuckle at the end of the touchline, right? But no, for me, right, I want to touch on Holland's performance before I do get on with what happened at the end of that touchline. Holland put on a very, very, very good fight, in my opinion. And for me, when they scored those 2 goals, for me, when they scored those 2 goals, Mace, the thing is that it started to really get entertaining. The game for me started to get entertaining, and it was a really good game. And yes, of course, Holland had a bit of a poor beginning of the game, but they grew into it. They never gave up. They showed a bit of fight, but they showed a bit of character, and that's what they did. And for me, I didn't think they weren't going to come back. And Weghorst, what I Like Coffee says in the chat, became a prime Lewandowski for 20 minutes. He was good when he first came on. He made such a difference. Excuse me. And but for me, I want to touch on with the yellow, like with the whole touchline situation. To me, that booking there should have been a red card from Nathan Atkin. Should have been a red card, because for me, if anyone thinks that wasn't a red card, I don't know what people have been watching, because I think it was a red card in my opinion. There's like that challenge on Nathan Atkin, right, at the end of the game, right? That was definitely 100% a red card. How did the referee not give a red card for that? And he gives him what, a yellow card or something? So
I agree. I completely agree. And you know what? I think that game, as well as Argentina, as well as the Netherlands, they've got it all over to penalties. I think it also shows the characteristics of Argentina. Because for me, in terms of Argentina, the way that they bottled a 2-goal lead, I think you can't do that when you're playing against the likes of other clubs. And I think the Netherlands, they were extremely unlucky that they wasn't good enough in that penalty shootout.
No, they weren't. And Netherlands were very poor in the penalty shootout, because for me, Argentina deserved to qualify. And that's why they won the penalty shootout. And Netherlands, for me, like, I thought in extra time Argentina were the better side. I really did. I thought, like, it was. Don't get me wrong. I thought the beginning of the game was quite boring, and then after that, the second half was probably a game of the tournament. I thought the first half was boring, but second half was really, really good. And Argentina, for now, we all talked about Argentina. We all talked about Messi. Messi missing 2 penalties for Argentina. We talked about Argentina, look, Saudi Arabia, they lost to Saudi Arabia, they beat Mexico, they beat Poland. And for me, Argentina, right, are you starting to see that Argentina is starting to become a good team again? Or do you think they're one of those teams where they're not that great, but they're still grinding out results?
Yeah, I feel like they are doing that, and they have done that the entire tournament. And you can't just be like that at high level football.
Yeah, of course. Because for me, Argentina, for me, can you believe that they can go on and win this tournament? Of course they can, and I want them to win the tournament. I said this right at the beginning of the World Cup, right? Okay, when I said this on my channel, I said I want Argentina, right? I want Argentina, right, to go on and win the World Cup because of Messi, right? Then I had my little doubts, thinking, right, okay, would I sort of kind of change my mind? And then now I want them to kind of win because I want them to win it with Messi. And Messi, for me, right, yes, a lot of people give Messi lazy, criticising all that stuff. Do you still think Messi is kind of stepped up, or do you think he's...
I think Messi's definitely been the best player in that team. I think if Messi wasn't in that team, then I think the results could be completely different. He has stepped up in terms of his penalties, scoring when it's needed to be, because that could have been the difference between 3 points getting through to knockouts. And that world-class pass for the assist, what he made in the game as well, was fantastic.
Of course it was, 100%, Mace, because Messi, for me, right, when he made that great assist, it goes to show that he's still got... Look, okay, I know Messi and Ronaldo are getting old, 30, 40 odd, But for me, on their day, they can actually show what people wanted to see many years ago when people grew up watching people like Messi and that. And for me, look, I think the game against Croatia, right, is tomorrow night. I think.
Wait, give me the results. Give me the result later. Give me the result later. So in terms of the game, I predicted 1-0 in 90 minutes for Argentina. You predicted a 1-1 draw, so you pick up a point. Well done, Luca. So we'll quickly go through the comments. Hey there, Antoinette. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Croatia to win the World Cup. I think that's something we all want. Tarsa said the ref was absolutely damn bad. I Like Coffee said Weghorst becomes prime Lewandowski for 20 minutes against Argentina. Liam said the referee got sent home. Nippers said Argentina are a dirty team. Tarson said should have been many red cards. The ref was bad. I Like Coffee said Messi just ran into players and won free kicks. Completely agree with that. And Liam said Argentina wouldn't be there without Messi. Completely agree. And Ravi said there Messi is carrying the team, and I do agree with that now as well. We'll go to the next game, Morocco versus Portugal. Morocco does the shock, and they do knock out Portugal. In actually 90 minutes, they scored a goal. I personally didn't watch the game, but did you watch the game, Luca?
What game was this? Morocco, Portugal?
Morocco versus Portugal.
No, I didn't watch the game. I was at football, so I couldn't.
Yeah, none of us watched the game then, but Morocco. So I predicted 0-0 Morocco versus Portugal in 90 minutes. Luca got the score right. You jammer. And Luca gets 4 points for that. And then now the game that someone is asked here in the chat, what do you think about Morocco? That's a very good question there from someone there from
Mysterious Twitch guy.
Yeah, from Twitch. So what do I think about Morocco? I think Morocco has been definitely one of the best defensive teams in the World Cup. I think they've had sparks of excitement up front. They played very well on the counter attack, and they've been a dark horse knocking out big teams in the World Cup as well. The goalkeeper's been absolutely outstanding. Ziyech, he's another one who stood out. He hasn't performed for club, so it's just like Maguire though. So you couldn't really say what's what, to be honest. So what's your thoughts as well?
For me, I think Morocco have been one of these teams where have really surprised, and this is what I like about World Cups and all that stuff. You get these kind of teams feel like, look, I don't want to be judgmental to teams like that. Okay, look, when you expect your country's not in the World Cup or your country's in the World Cup and you're knocked out of the World Cup, you kind of feel like at the same time I wake up like today and feel like, Morocco in the semi-final, great. You kind of want your country to be in the next round. But for me, right, Morocco have been absolutely fantastic because for me they've actually proved to people and sent a statement that they managed to beat people like Portugal, Spain, because I knew they were going to beat Portugal, but I didn't expect they were going to beat Spain. So Morocco, for me, I had Morocco to finish in the bottom of the group stage, I think. So Morocco, for me.
What group was he in?
Oh, I can't remember what group it was. This was like a couple of weeks ago. But Morocco, for me.
There you go. We both predicted them fourth.
Yeah. I can't believe I've actually predicted them to manage to finish fourth and they're in the semi-final. See, but that means, Mace, right? It goes to show teams like that, right, having a point to prove, right? And they've been very good. Look, what you said is right, Mace, about Ziyech, okay? Ziyech, right? I like Ziyech. Don't get me wrong, right? At Chelsea, his career hasn't really worked. But I think if he goes to maybe someone like AC Milan, elsewhere, Rome or somewhere like that, that's kind of his style of play where you get the best out of people like that, right? So he's doing very well. It's a bit similar to Harry Maguire for England. So Morocco, for me, if they win it, right, I'm not complaining, right? they'll be the first African team to go on and actually win the tournament.
They sure will be. Now, so for me, it was bad goalkeeping. Why? Costa didn't catch that cross or attempted to punch away from danger. Liam said Morocco deserved. Great game. Ravi said, I want Morocco to go all the way. Hey there, Andrew, I hope you well. Thanks for coming in. F the World Cup, bring back the Premier League. Thank you for the like, John. Liam said, Portugal were the shadow of that team that hammered the Swiss. Ronaldo made them look like they were playing with 10 men when he came on. That's typical Ronaldo. I like Coffee said, if Croatia win the World Cup, Modric could get a World Cup too. And then we'll go to the final game of the quarterfinals, which was England versus France. Luca, do you want to touch on that game before I do?
For me, right? I did a watch along for the England versus France game, right? And for me, oh my God, we have plenty of talking points, right? The thing with England, right? How do I start this off? The thing with England, right? For me, like, what really annoyed me about Gareth Southgate in that game, first half, right? England didn't really play well at the beginning, right? I saw your watch along, right, with John Sinclair while I was doing mine. And for me, France, right, started very, very, very well. I thought England were going to beat France, right? I said this on Saturday night. Look, I'm not surprised that England have gone out. I predicted England to win in extra time, right?
I did as well.
But for me, right, France started the game very, very, very well, right? And I just think Southgate got it all wrong, right? Why would you take Saka off, right? And before I do get onto that, England should have had a penalty in the first half when Kane fell on the floor. Then England got the penalty after that, the first one. Kane scores and makes it 1-1. And then after that, I didn't think England weren't even that bad. When England equalised, right, I thought England were the better team. And for me, Maguire, right, should have actually scored that, right? And if you're scoring that, you're going to go on and win the game, right? But England switched off and lacked a bit of communication. Olivier Giroud, right, scores, makes it 2-1, right? Then we get into the worst part. The worst scenario is the penalty situation, right? We all knew it was a penalty. From Mason Mount came on. And I know, look, you're a massive fan of Mason Mount, right? Right?
Depends what kind of way you're talking about.
Coke. But yeah.
Coke? What?
A Coke bottle Mason Mount.
Yeah.
Who
said I like Mount based off his technical ability?
Yes, but Mason Mount is, when you buy loads of 10 bottles of Diet Coke Mason Mount, you can just look at Mason Mount just like that, thinking, oh my God, Mason Mount is in front of me. But yeah, anyway. Anyway, as I was saying, right, look, how did Harry Kane miss that penalty? For me, right, you notice on the first one, he kind of rushed it a little bit, right? And then the second one, Kane should just do what he normally does. Put it in the bottom corner. Lloris was always going to dive that. And for me, look, if Harry Kane wanted to end up breaking Shrek's record, Wayne Rooney, right? For me, you can do that in a friendly, right, against Ukraine in the qualifiers, right? So for me, right, look, no one expected Harry Kane to miss, right? No one expected him to miss. You expected him, club captain. He's sitting in front of England fans, thousands of fans, a chance to equalise, right? Do it for the country. And then he goes and miss. And for me, right, what on earth, Mace, right? And you said this on John Sinclair's watch along on the weekend, right? When I was doing mine. Harry Kane, right, should have done better with the penalty, right? He should have gone in the bottom corner where Lloris knows. I knew Lloris, and everybody knew who was doing watch-alongs on the weekend. We knew that Lloris was actually going to dive, right? But for me, right, look, we can't really get into Harry Kane because no one expected him to miss, right? I know people have said over the game, over the weekend, Monday morning, thinking, okay, Harry Kane's a bit greedy, give it to someone else, right? But what if someone else would have missed? Then people would have said the complete opposite, thinking, oh, why didn't Harry Kane not take it? But another thing I will touch on before you say is that why did he take, right, Saka off? Saka was the best player for England. He won, well, Mason Mount and also won the penalty, but Saka was involved, right, leading up to when Mason Mount won the penalty, right? But he won the first one with Harry Kane, right? And then he suddenly take Jack Grealish on with like a couple of minutes to go. I'm like, why did you not bring Jack Grealish on earlier? Why did Marcus Rashford not come on earlier? Rashford was England's best player against Wales, right? Sterling, for me, why are you involving Raheem Sterling, right? Where he's just come back from Qatar, back to obviously his private life. For me, Southgate right now, right? Yes, England, for me, were a bit unlucky, right? Right? And if that penalty goes in, you go on to win the game. So I think Southgate, what went wrong on the weekend was his substitutions were late, taking Saka off, right? And he doesn't have a clue. Like, he's spineless.
The thing is, I completely agree with you. I don't think we was the better team in that until France scored, and then when France scored, we was pushing for a goal. We did have the better chances, in my opinion, but I just don't think they were clinical enough. There was we have Harry Kane, we have Saka, we have Phil Foden. I personally think starting Jordan Henderson was completely wrong. I don't see why Jordan Henderson deserves minutes.
The guy's rubbish.
He is rubbish. Just because he scored in the quarterfinals doesn't warrant his place in that World Cup squad. First penalty, well done to Harry Kane. I think the substitutes, I completely agree, were far too late, and I don't think they were the right substitutes. Like, you put Marcus Rashford on the last 10 minutes of the game. Why would you do that? Why would you take Phil Foden off as another option? But I know you've already mentioned Saka, but I don't think he had his best performance, in my opinion.
I think he was a good player.
I don't think he had his best performance for me, and personally, I would have swapped him over for Rashford. Rashford's the top goal scorer for England with half. Him and Saka's on the same amount, and Rashford's played half the less minutes what Saka's done. So why has he not even? He hasn't hardly played.
But for me, look,
he deserves more minutes. He deserved more minutes than what he deserved, in my opinion. I felt like Saka was getting. He was running in too much into players, and that gave the ball away quite a lot. Personally, I would have put Jack Grealish on as a substitute a lot earlier on. And why I would have had Jack Grealish on earlier on is because even though I'm not a fan of Jack Grealish, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of him. I don't like him, but I just think that he could win us fouls high up the pitch. We had that spectacular free kick, what could have been a goal in the final minutes, but
exactly.
That for me, that didn't cost us the game. The penalty, that second penalty, cost us the game. And what I thought is, as much as Harry Kane is our penalty taker, was it a wise decision knowing that Lloris plays for his club?
Yeah, but the thing is, when you say that, Mace, right, about him playing for the club, right, for the same club, no one expected Harry Kane to actually go and miss that penalty. Like, people watching it in front of TV screens and box parks and all that stuff on Saturday evening, right? No one expected Harry Kane to go and miss that penalty because it's Harry Kane. You expect him to score. He hardly never misses penalties. When's the last time he missed a penalty?
He's missed 3 penalties in his England career.
Yeah, so that's nothing. So for me, he's a very, very good technical player for penalties. But do you trust Harry Kane again in another penalty shootout like that? Of course he can. Because he's only missed 3 penalties, Maisy. And for me, look, I understand where you're coming from, right? About, yes, he's looking towards his teammate, right? But Kane, for me, he bottled it in the Champions League final against Tottenham in 2019, right? He technically, Russia 2018 should have squared it to Sterling. That's 2-0. You in the final with France. And then, other than that, right, doesn't really play well against Italy in the Euros. And he does it again. For me, a lot of people have slagged us, oh, Harry Kane's crap. He's not crap.
He isn't crap, no. I don't think he's crap for 1 second, but there's qualities about Harry Kane that I seriously don't like.
No.
And one of them is that he drops far too deep. And when you are a striker who is losing your legs, he isn't as pacey, the pacey kind of striker. Stay up the pitch. Because you
How
look
old
at...
is he now? About 31?
He's about 29, 30, I'd probably
So
say.
he's got, what, 4 years left?
He's got more. I'd say he's got. In terms of country, he's probably got about 4 years. He's got another World Cup in him, 100%. Harry Kane, he is 29. He turned 29 in July.
See, he's slightly older than me, so for me, maybe you've got like, well, the Euros he's gonna get, of course, we know that. Probably one more World Cup in 2026, and then that'll be 33 years old, because he ain't gonna play in the next one because he'd be like 37. So he's still.
No, he won't play the World Cup after.
No.
He won't play the World Cup after. He'll play the next one, but he won't play the one after.
Well, no.
But rumours are suggesting now that Gareth Southgate is looking at leaving the England job, and there is 3 managers who's lined up. One being Thomas Tuchel, one being Pochettino, and one, this is absolutely ridiculous, is Steven Gerrard.
Gerrard?
If Steven Gerrard becomes the England manager, not being funny, right, I will flip. I want him nowhere near that England job. If Southgate wants to leave, what's the point in bringing a bigger bottle of job for the England job?
Look, it's not going to happen. England are not that stupid. But for me, look, we've seen it in the past with Sven Eriksson, Steve McLaren. Steve McLaren not qualifying after sitting panicking about the weather under the umbrella. You know what I mean? Like, end up panicking about the weather, not beating Croatia, getting outspun by Scott Carson. But no, the thing is, if Steven Gerrard did take the job, right, then for me, it's a downgrade, right? Gerrard proves that he's not good enough in English football, in like for a big national team. He didn't do well for Aston Villa, right? I'm quite shocked that he didn't do well for Aston Villa. I actually thought he would have came to Villa.
The guy, like, if England's looking at even thinking of Steven Gerrard, they're literally looking at him in Rangers. Because what the hell did he do at Aston Villa? What did he seriously do at Aston Villa?
Aston Villa. He's done nothing at Aston Villa. And for me, Mace, right, at Rangers is his type of level. Championship football maybe is probably better, right? Right? Mace, you know it would be Gerrard. That's madness. Steven Gerrard's really mad.
Rangers is his type of level.
What?
You said about Rangers being his level?
Yeah, he is. He is. No, honestly, he is. I'm being serious.
Say no more. Say no more. Niall says Giroud did what he thought was best big target man who gets on the end of crosses. It was 2 bits of quality that won the game for France in a moment of magic. Completely agree, Niall. Ravi said England, the subs were late and just wrong. What Jack Grealish going to do in less than 2 minutes? Liam said, who do you reckon Southgate goes? Who do you like as a replacement? Out of the 2 out of 3 bad options, I'd pick Tuchel, to be honest.
For me, I would pick Thomas Tuchel, because Thomas Tuchel, for me, is about time England gets someone like a European foreign manager. We've done it with Fabio Capello. Okay, yes, it didn't really work out, right? But for me, we did it with Sven-Göran Eriksson, quarter-final in 2006. But I have a question. What if England don't win the World Cup with a Thomas Tuchel?
Well,
Is it going to come down to the players? Is it going to come down to mentality?
It's going to still come down to the manager. Because when you look at the next... I'm not going to blame the manager, but people still will. Because you look at the World Cup, right? Majority of them players are going to be in their prime. Rashford's going to be in his prime. Phil Foden's going to be in his prime. Saka's near enough going to be hitting his prime. Reece James will be in his prime. Mason Mount will be in his prime. All the players who are in that England squad now, minus Kane and Jordan Henderson, God, I hope he's retired by then. And Maguire.
Would you not call Harry Kane up for the next World Cup? Because who can you really replace? Like, then you're going to have to call Tammy Abraham,
Callum Wilson, Ivan Toney.
Wilson, not for me.
Wilson's done pretty good this season.
He's good, but he's not.
He's done good this season.
Ivan Toney is 100% going in that team.
Mm-hmm.
He could be the next Harry Kane. You don't know. Look, okay, he might not be up to Harry Kane's standards of level, but for me, he's got potential to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't he? So Ivan Toney, like, for me, I would put Harry Kane in the World Cup, but I wouldn't start him. He could be a player that can come off the bench because by the World Cup he'd be 33. And why would you want a 33-year-old striker starting in tournaments?
Well, what's Giroud?
35.
What's wrong with Giroud starting?
Nothing. I'm just saying that Olivier Giroud is doing better than Harry Kane in the World Cup. I think Kane's, of course, is a better player than Giroud overall. But Olivier Giroud is being on better form, mates.
Agreed. Completely agree. I Like Coffee said, I predicted 2-1, but France won instead of England. Now said, Kane blew it with that penalty miss. Ballooned it to Rowett's pressure got the better of him.
Yeah.
John said, France to win the World Cup final on Sunday. I Like Coffee said, how do players send the ball to space? I can't even kick the ball that high. That's facts, I Like Coffee. Andrew said he took absolute ages with the first one and rushed the second one. I Like Coffee said Maddison never got any game time too. I know he wasn't fully fit for the first couple of games, and the thing is I think James Maddison, based off form, deserved it, but he was injured for a couple of games of it. So, and I look at it and think, what's the point in bringing injured players through as well?
For me, mates, right, you can't really blame James Maddison because Maddison, for me, look, would he have actually made a difference in the midfield if he was fully fit? Of course. Imagine the runs, imagine the assists. Maddison's very good at crossing the ball and everything. But look, Maddison didn't really get in because what really annoyed me about when the 23 or 26 man squad got announced, mates, right? Maddison, for me, what's the point calling Maddison in the squad where the guy's not even going to get featured? That is what I don't understand about Gareth Southgate. Like, for me, like, you're not calling Ivan Toney up, right? Because we talked about earlier about Harry Kane's penalty. If he wasn't starting that game, Ivan Toney could have took the penalty. And Ivan Toney is good at penalties. So, but Maddison, getting back to
I think he's been on great form, though, James Maddison. Don't get me wrong, but I just look at it and think we can't afford to keep bringing in injured players when you look... You look at some players who could have been brought through but didn't. I probably know when. I don't know, but I just think for me that it was a silly move.
Do you think it's another?
No, I'm not a fan of James Ward-Prowse. He's got his little party trick with his set pieces and his corners. But what has James Ward-Prowse got? What Kieran Trippier doesn't have, what Mason Mount doesn't have, what Luke Shaw doesn't have with his set pieces and free kicks. Nothing.
Yeah, but can Mason Mount score free kicks though?
Mason Mount does score free kicks for Chelsea. Sometimes. And he does the corners as well.
But for me, look, I understand, but before, James Ward-Prowse for me should have actually been in the previous World Cup. But the longer you're going to keep dragging this guy not getting in, it's going to get to a point thinking, no, you don't need James Ward-Prowse. James Maddison is still young, right? He's about, what, 25 to 27 years old? He's still in his prime, right? Yes, okay, he's not been the Maddison. Yes.
Rashford, another one. Free kick.
Another one as well, right? Rashford played very well against Wales, right? And I said this before, Maisy, when we were doing our predictions. I said Rashford was, since coming back from injury for Manchester United, Rashford has been the informed player going into the World Cup. How have you gone and dropped Rashford, where you're playing Raheem Sterling? Like, well, okay, he's not played recently, but Raheem Sterling played in one of the games, right? Sterling's been crap for Chelsea this season.
I agree. He shouldn't have been in that World Cup squad. Not at all.
He's lost
but
the yard.
I have a question for you with James Ward-Prowse, because I know you did mention that he should have been in the World Cup. If he was at City, Arsenal, Man United, would he be the number one choice taking set pieces and free kicks?
No, he wouldn't.
And that's what I mean. I just think apart from that, he's got no quality about him.
No, he hasn't, because for me, look,
I would have rather brought Lingard through.
He is a player where he can be on his day, he can be very good at set pieces and that. But the guy has been around for ages.
Who has?
James Ward-Prowse.
The guy's. I feel like the guy is like still young. He's like, how old is he? He's only 28, and as you said, it does feel like he's been around forever. He's been at Southampton since 2011, 320 appearances, so for 12 years. I mean, 11 years.
So he's been a long servant to that club, and for me, look, he's played in Championship and all that stuff, and look, James Ward-Prowse for me. At this time, no, don't call him up, because you've got other midfielders that can, like Mason Mount's very good at set pieces. James Maddison's very good on his day. I still like James Maddison, but we don't need a player like that. We need someone like a party role. But we've got Odegaard, and Odegaard's great. So for me, look, England. The thing is with England is with James Ward-Prowse. Look, every time Ward-Prowse on his day, he can be a bit of a threat against every time when we play Southampton, or if you're playing Southampton with Manchester United, mates. James Ward-Prowse for me is if you're going to put me in that England squad now, where is he going to get in? He's not going to get in of like a Phil Foden or a Maddison.
Yeah, I completely agree. With that. I like Goffy said, Southgate bringing Grealish on for 1 minute. I'm not doing a semi-final watch along on my channel. Third place. No, probably won't, to be honest, Niall. I'm not doing a I'm not gonna probably do it, to be honest. Just take a bit of a break off YouTube for a few days this week.
Yeah,
Kay Slater's in the chat. Hey there, Kay Slater. Hope you well. Thanks for coming in. Maisy taking no prisoners on Gerrard tonight. None. Hey there, True Gooner. I hope you well. Thank you for coming into the chat. So for the England-France, we both predicted 1-1 draws in 90 minutes. Both got no points. Our guaranteed goal scorer, I had Richarlison. You had Mbappe. No points.
Oh, I did. Mbappe's top goal scorer. So that is.
No, you didn't.
Come on, Mace. Mbappe's top goal scorer. I'm winning.
No. So that means you picked up 5 points. I picked up no points, and you're still in the lead with 68 points. So we'll do our prediction now for the next 2 games. And we'll go with Croatia versus Argentina. What are you gonna go with for this game, Luca?
See, this game can go either way, right? Croatia for me, Mace, right? Like unexpected Brazil, right? The Brazil Sambas end up getting knocked out, right? By Croatia. Brazil get knocked out, right? And no one expected that. Look, if Croatia play like they did the other day, right? I don't see why not they can get to the final. I don't see why not they can get to the final, because Croatia, for me, proved it in Russia, and they lost 4-2 to France. I think this game, Argentina are going to win. But I can see this game going to extra time and Argentina will win it in extra time.
What are you going to go for in the 90 minutes then?
1-1.
I had the exact same. I had 1-1. However, I think that it's going to go to penalties and Croatia wins.
What?
Yeah.
Croatia to win?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they'll get to the final.
Fair enough.
Niall's gone for a 1-1 draw. Argentina to win 5-4 on pens. Liam's gone for 1-0 Croatia. And Ravi's gone for Croatia. Argentina is going to extra time. I like coffee. Croatia held their ground against Brazil, but are a stronger team against Argentina. And I agree. Next game, France versus Morocco. This is going to be an interesting game for me because Morocco's conceded the least amount of goals in the tournament. However, I don't think France has been terrific in the game in this tournament. They still have a lot of gaps. So where do you feel like this is going to go?
I think France will edge it, but I think France are going to win 1-0.
It's an interesting one. You know what? I'm going to go for 0-0 in 90 minutes. It's going to go to extra time. And France is going to win in injury time. Is going to win in extra time.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like Coffee said, I think Argentina will win through a controversial referee decision. Ravi said 1-1 extra time and Argentina to win in pens. Leon's gone for 2-1 for France. Niall's gone, I'm going feeling brave. 1-0 Morocco. It will be a counter-attack. And then Morocco will defend for their lives. And Kate Slater's gone for 1-0 for France. So we'll finish off with our guaranteed goal scorer. This is a lot harder now. Because, you know.
Come on, Mace, I'm winning with the goal scorers.
Well, who are you going to go for then?
Well, I'm winning at the moment, mate.
My guaranteed goal scorer for the semi-finals, Messi.
Messi for this one. But overall, it's Mbappe all day long.
No, you can only go for that round. That's round.
Messi for this semi-final.
Okay. I like Coffee's gone France to win, but love to see Morocco win. Ravi said, I think France will be jammy and win an extra time. And Liam said, Mbappe guaranteed goal scorer. So we'll wrap it up here now. Thank you, Luca, for coming on.
Anytime.
It's been a good show. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, so pretty simple. And subscribe to the channel, Luca AFC. Follow me on YouTube. Yes, there's not been quite a lot. Well, the last content I put out was obviously the weekend. There won't be any watch-alongs for the semi-finals due to obviously being working and all that stuff. But tomorrow night, right, possibly a maybe, right, there might be a match reaction for Arsenal's friendly with AC Milan, right? So you Milan fans, right? Careful what you're wishing for because we're going to batter you.
You're losing.
No chance. but because you ain't got Giroud. But however, right, tomorrow there's possibly going to be a match reaction tomorrow, probably maybe about 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, right? Arsenal AC Milan. So make sure you guys turn the notifications. As always, keep it posted. We are sitting currently on, before we do obviously say that, we're currently sitting on 2,514. So we are 86 away from 2.6. So if you haven't gone and subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to Luca AFC. Follow me on Twitter, Martinelli AFC, and follow me on Instagram as well. So Maisy, thank you very much for having me on as always.
Thank you very much, Luca, for coming on. I'll be next live myself on Thursday. I'm doing a special episode where we will review 5 strikers who could potentially come to Manchester United, who will be linked, who will suit Manchester United based off Ten Hag's style of play. That's going to be done with Brush. So both me and Brush will pick 5 individual strikers. We may pick the same strikers, who knows, but we will go with 5. That's going to be at 8 o'clock on Thursday. So if you haven't, go and check that out. You may like the thumbnail as well. It's got Ten Hag with a Christmas hat on. Like, come on, who doesn't love Ten Hag with a Christmas hat on? Like, you know what I mean? So go and check that out. 8 p.m. on Thursday. Thank you again, Luca, for coming on, and your link is in the description. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We'll see you Thursday, 8 o'clock. Take care. Bye bye.